cast requests? How about a joke?
Woo! Top 10, kiddos! And I don't know what might make people angrier. Either the fact that Buggy not only made the list, but also the fact that he cracked the top 10 for me. Like with Moria, this is another entry that's hard to talk about. Buggy isn't the most despicable person on this list, but at the same time, he's nowhere near being a good guy. He's selfish, he's arrogant, he's power mad, but by God, he is just enjoyable to watch. He brings a character that we never see anyone come close to in the series, and you can tell that Oda took heavy inspiration in Buggy's character from Dragon Ball's Pilaf and Hercule. Buggy used to be an apprentice on Roger's ship, and his friend/other apprentice just happened to be Shanks. Together they saw the world up until their captain's death. Ever since, Buggy and Shanks went on different paths. While Shanks went through the ranks, Buggy made a small name for himself. When Luffy first meets him, Buggy looks and acts like a stereotypical villain and only his design stands out. But as time went on, we see a character somehow evolve but never change. His breakout at Impel Down, his participation at Marineford, and his past made Buggy more powerful than anyone expected him to. Seriously, did anyone guess that Buggy was going to be a warlord of the sea? And with this design no less? That is Buggy's greatest power, manipulation. Somehow, some way, Buggy gains the loyalty of most people that cross him. It calls back to the Celestial Dragons. Buggy isn't the most powerful man around, but his crew and loyal servants have the power to back up any claim he makes. He also has an awesome Devil Fruit. This fruit allows him to separate his body at will, allowing for some interesting attacks and even the illusion of flight. And during all of this, Buggy never changes his way. He's still selfish and arrogant and power mad. He's not flat out despicable, but he still has an end goal of being at the top of the world and trying to outwit anyone that gets in his way. That was still the case when he temporarily joined with Luffy in Impel Down. That's what made Buggy rank so high on my list. He's not the biggest obstacle to the Straw Hats, hell, he's kind of a joke to them, but Buggy's accomplishments, design, powers, and crew more than make up for his failures in the past. He is Oda's favorite character in the series, so whatever Buggy does next, we can expect it to be full of fun. And possibly fear.
But don't worry, I'll take care of it myself. I won't be gone for long.
Ah yes, my personal favorite admiral is finally getting the love I have denied him time and definite time again. Unfortunately, we don't know much about Kizaru. The only thing we know about his past is that he was trained by Z and that he took care of Arlong like a Red Lobster employee. But for the character we see now, I can easily say he's one of the most powerful and intimidating characters in the series. His Devil Fruit is all about the potential abilities of light. He can travel by bouncing off clear surfaces, he can transform into light, he can make weapons out of light, and he can apparently even attack at the speed of light, as he said to Hawkins before he decked him in his straw head. Kizaru's fruit is easily my favorite in the series due to his usability factor and overall awesomeness. But the fruit does not make the man. Kizaru himself is an interesting fellow. For starters, his design. It's one of the simplest designs in the series. Wear a suit, put on a pair of 1980 shades, and you're literally golden. His personality is also unique in the series. He always talks with a slow, calm voice even though his powers are possibly too fast and powerful for others to handle him. And his voice actor really sells that fear and intimidation behind that voice. I don't want to factor in voice actors because everyone brings their own unique talent to a character, but I have to give major props to Unsho Ishizuka for blowing me away when I first heard Kizaru. But what got Kizaru in the top 10 for me was his accomplishments, and not just in battle. When he fought Rayleigh and a short time later against Marco, Whitebeard, and the latter's crew, you can notice that Kizaru isn't taking this seriously. He's on the battlefield enjoying the moment and taking it easy. The most important battle to the Marines, and Kizaru is wondering if he left the stove on. You could even say that Kizaru was the secondary antagonist to Akainu during Marineford because he gets in Luffy's way a lot. And every time he does, he makes Luffy suffer. He's one of the few enemies on this list that has not been defeated or stopped in their tracks. He's a power unlike any we've seen in the series, and he stands out from other villains as this seemingly unstoppable force. I can't wait to see Kizaru get in more development and to finally see him in a fight where he has to go all out. He's a character that gets me excited the more I think about him, so great work, Kizaru. You made me and many others see the light. You know, for the longest time, I always thought Enel was based off of Thor. They both appear to be gods, have a superiority complex, have a unique handheld weapon, they're both hot, they both have nice ears, and they're easily some of the most powerful beings their respective universes have ever seen. When choosing between Kizaru and Enel, it was hard to pick which one deserved to be on top of the other. It's like that cutscene from Pirate Warriors 2 where they face off against each other but no real winner is decided because anime games like to tease you more than a stripper that's trying to earn that Friday bonus. So why did Enel make it on top? To be blunt, he's more ambitious, was more involved with our heroes, has more life in his character, and even though he lost to Luffy, he still went on to be a conqueror and he succeeded. Most villains nowadays don't get that second chance. So Enel was the ruler of the sky. With his lightning devil fruit, Enel commanded the power of, lightning, and could give old Zeus a run for his money. This newfound power made Enel believe that he was a god, and to be fair, he has a point. When the Sky Island arc comes around, a lot of fans, me included, were starting to be just a little bored at the pace of the story. I understand nowadays that slow chapters are important, but some of that arc felt unnecessary. But when Enel got his hands dirty, he pile drives you into the mud. Enel didn't seem like a super scary opponent. He was the next arc villain after Crocodile. Those are big shoes to fill. But he fills them all right, with the blood of his enemies. Throughout his arc, Enel is unstoppable and was one of the first people in the series to show what Haki could do, aside from Shanks' staring contest. With his omnipresent state, he tore through everyone. Hell, the only reason he lost was because Luffy was made of rubber. If Luffy was anything else, the Straw Hats would be dead. They had no idea what Haki was at that point. Enel is a godly figure that still fits in the One Piece world due to his weakness and personality. He pulled the miracle of saving an arc from boredom and offered one of the most satisfying defeats in the series for me. But if there was anything to hold him back, is that his superiority complex, while deserved, can get annoying after too much exposure. In all cases, Enel is a man that likes to do what he wants and is ready to show off what he can do. In fact, he's kind of like Eminem in that way. Oh.
Consider this your punishment, child. There's no way to neutralize the amount of poison your body has absorbed. You will suffer an agonizing pain for 24 hours, and then you will die. This is true hell!
I'll be blunt here. I'm terrified of this man. If I had the chance to avoid one villain but face everyone else, I'd say please not Magellan. Though a side reason could also be because I get a shot at you, you swine. Brago's hat has more power than you. Anyway, Magellan was a former warden of Impel Down, the inescapable prison. Now before we talk about the man, let's talk about the prison because this is important to me. So in stories, there's a difficult but not impossible technique called environmental villain impact. Basically, if the environment has a unique look and challenge to our hero, then it only makes the villain that much more menacing. Notice I said unique though. You could throw anyone in a castle, but unless the castle does something with its size and uniqueness, then it's just another building that doesn't impress. Impel Down though is a prison. A fictional prison, and by God, it's brutal. Every floor here offers a new, fresh hell for all who enters these damned halls. The creativity of Oda's torturous mind is on full display here, and I love every dark and depressing bit of it. And the man at the top of this prison is Warden Magellan. Now, like Kizaru, we don't know his past, but we do know almost everything else. He's a playful man with his staff and has a, interesting quirk with his bathroom habit, which adds to his personality. But when he decides to take action, he's again unstoppable. Magellan has the poison fruit, a fruit that covers its victims in either a gas or liquid form that, you guess it, slowly kills them in a horrific, painful way. His fruit attacks are unique since they seem practically sentient, and it's really one of the few devil fruits you can't afford to take a hit from. Magellan's love from the fanbase stems from the fear he produces. With his design, powers and official, fruit power, and overall danger factor, he's not a man to be trifled with. Hell, he's not even defeated during the Impel Down arc. All Luffy could do with others' help was hold him back. You can even argue that if Luffy had Haki, it wouldn't change anything. Magellan is the Grim Reaper, and he hits all the right notes. He may not be the most despicable person in the world, but as a challenge to Luffy, he not only imposes as a serious threat, he's also one of the few people in the series to have crushed Luffy and got away with it. There's a reason this prison is feared among pirates. That is, until new management came in.
What does one say to a man who's marked for death? First, let me be frank. You disappoint me.
The final group of enemies to make the list, and are you really surprised that these people made it this far? When it comes to One Piece villains, CP9 is one of the first things that many think about. Each member on their own push the Straw Hats, and the story for that matter, to their limits and to new heights. They're iconic characters and for all the right reasons. In a way, CP9 is the Straw Hat version of the government. The group is full of wacky personalities with a side of seriousness, all led up by their strongest member, who can be called a beast. Now you might be thinking why Rob Lucci himself didn't make the list, and that's because on his own he's not that impressive. He's a calm and strategic warrior, but he's arrogant and doesn't do or say anything unless he's around his crew or someone strong enough to appreciate. In fact, each member is like that, but together they're a force whose power should not be called into question. Kind of like the Ginyu Force or Togoro's team. What sets CP9 apart from other villains though is that they're like this fusion of previous villains. They were spies like Kuro, powerful like the Warlord, skilled like an L, and as menacing as the Marines. Each member brings a unique ability to the table, and like I said before, their fights with the Straw Hats are some of the most beloved in the series. They pull out all the stops in an arc where many questioned if the Straw Hats were going to even make it out alive. If I had to find a flaw though, it's that while we got a backstory, personality, and great fight out of them, I wish we saw just a tad more of their true selves. The material is there and that's great, but I wish I saw more of Lucci and the others. Like if we had more flashbacks about how they made it this far, stuff like that can go a long way. They're always built up as a big deal, and they are. I just wish we saw a bit more of them and not just Lucci and him in CP0. Who knows, they might be there and they haven't been revealed, or Lucci is the only one left. Either way, CP9 is one of the greatest groups, challenges, and has one of the best arcs One Piece can offer.